Now, I first thought the two kids who did this came from someplace else. Well, when I learned that they had grown up in Laramie, I was just floored.
In Laramie, Wyoming, a young man is in a deep coma near death from a savage beating.
When I first found out, I just thought it was horrible. Nobody deserves that. I don't care who you are.
A college freshman was beaten, tied to a fence, and left for dead in Wyoming this week.
Certainly you'd like to think this was somebody from out of town. Somebody who comes through and beats somebody up. But if we're talking about somebody who's been beaten repeatedly by somebody from our town, well, that certainly offends us.
If you'd asked me before, I would have told you, Laramie is a beautiful town. It's secluded, secluded enough so you can have your own identity. Now, after Matthew, we're a town defined by an accident or a crime, We become Waco or Jasper, We're a noun or a definition or a sign.
Do you mind if I tape this?
No, I don't mind.
Great, thank you. And thank you again for taking time out of your rehearsal to talk to me.
I must tell you, when I first heard you were thinking of coming here, when you first called me, I wanted to say, you just kicked me in the stomach. Why are you doing this to me? And then I thought, well, that's stupid. You're not doing this to me. And more importantly, my students need to talk. When this first happened, they started to talk about it, and then the media descended and all dialogue stopped.
Well, we're not reporters.
I know. I read your last play.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Gave me an idea of what you do.
Moisés called, saying he had an idea for his next theater project, but there was a somberness to his voice. So I asked him what it was all about, and he said he may want to do a piece about what's happening in Wyoming.
Lee called me and told me that the company was thinking of going down to Laramie and conducting some interviews, and did I want to come? I did. I said, yeah, but I was hesitant because as a gay man, I mean, a kid had just been killed there because he was gay.
What exactly do you want?
Well, I'd like you to give me names of people who might want to talk to us. And I'd like to talk to your students and your friends. I want to hear from the people of the town.
I have never done anything like this before. How do you get people to talk to you? What do you ask?
It's still very raw for us here.
I understand, but this is no longer about Laramie or Wyoming. This is about the whole country.
To me, it's still about Laramie.
The company has agreed to come to Laramie and interview the people of the town, and I'm scared because I don't know what I'm going to do about trying to ensure their safety. I made a preliminary contact with Rebecca Hilliker, who's the head of the theater department at the University of Wyoming, and hopefully that will lead to more interviews.
Hey, you're late.
I know. We talked for a lot longer than I planned.
So what did Rebecca say?
Look, she gave me names of a bunch of people who might talk to us, townspeople and ranchers, some students, so we should try and contact these people first.
Well, let's see if anybody's going to talk. Great.
You okay? What?
Please don't do that here.
Where are you folks from?
New York. New York.
And what brings you to town?
We're just passing through.
Hi. Is Linda home?
No, she's working.
Okay, well, can you tell her that Amanda stopped by and I'll be at the Ranger Motel?
And who are you?
Well, I'm with the theater company. Rebecca Hilliker told her about me.
I never heard of her. What do you want?
Well, I'm with the theater company, and we're writing a play about Laramie and the Matthew Shepard incident.
Why are you doing that?
Well, we think it's a story that...
Well, you're sticking your nose into something we don't need to talk about anymore. That's over and done.
I understand your feeling.
Look, we don't want any more of this. You're not wanted here.
Where are you going with this story?
Well, when the play's finished, we're going to bring it around to Laramie.
And you're going to use our words?
That's the idea.
Well, I've been close enough to the case to know many of the people. I have a daughter who works in the sheriff's department. As for the gay issue, I don't give a damn one way or another, as long as they don't bother me. And even if they did, I just say no thank you. And that's the attitude of most of the Laramie population. They might poke one in a bar situation, you know, they've been drinking, they might actually smack one in the mouth, but then they just walk away. Laramie is live and let live.
My dear brothers and sisters, I am here today to bring you the word of the Lord. In my ministry, I found a simple truth that I'd like to share with you today, and it's this. The word is either sufficient or it is not. Now, scientists tell me that human history, that the world is 5 billion or 6 billion years old. After all, what's a billion years, give or take? But the Bible tells me that human history is 6,000 years old. The word is either sufficient or it is not.
In Laramie, population 26,687. The first thing to greet us was Walmart. This could be any main drag in America, fast food chains, gas stations. But as we drove into the downtown area by the railroad tracks, the buildings still retained the shape of a turn-of-a-century Western town. Oh, and as we passed the University Inn, on the sign where amenities such as heated pool or cable TV are usually touted, it said, "Hate is not a Laramie value."
So how did you wind up here?
Well, when it came time to go to college, my parents couldn't really afford to send me to college, so I knew that I wanted to study theater, but I knew that if I wanted to go to college, I had to get on scholarship. So there's this like competition they have every year. It's like a Wyoming State High School competition thing, and so I came to the university to the theater department to look for some good scenes, right? And I asked the professor, I said, I need a killer scene. And he's like, here you go. This is it.
What was it?
That was Angels in America. I read that, and I'm like, this is okay. I can win best scene if I just do a good enough job, you know? So I tell my parents, so they can come see me in the competition. And they brought me in their room, and they sat me down, and they said that they wouldn't come to see me if I did that scene. They couldn't.
Why is that?
Because they believe it's wrong, because homosexuality is wrong, And all I remember from the competition is just standing ovation.
Oh, really?
Just, we won, we got first place. It's one of the best moments of my life. Just,
Did your parents come?
Parents weren't there.
So why'd you do it?
Actually, if I'm really honest, I think I wanted to win, really. And it was just the greatest scene, I just wanted to win.
Today, for the first time, I met someone who actually knew Matthew Shepard. Trish Steger, owner of a shop in town, referred to him as Matt.
Matt used to come into my shop. That's how I knew him.
It was the first time I ever heard him referred to as Matt instead of Matthew. What was he like?
I don't know, How does any one person ever tell about another?
Matt was a blunt little shit. You know what I'm saying? And he's a little guy, 5'2", soaking wet, I bet you 97 pounds tops. They were saying he weighed 110 pounds. I don't believe it. I say, are you Matthew Shepard? And he says, yeah. I'm Matthew Shepard, but I don't want you to call me Matthew or Mr. Shepard. Don't call me none of that. My name is Matt, and I want you to know that I am gay, and we're gonna be going to a gay bar. Do you have a problem with that? I said, no. How you paying? Okay, because the fact of the matter is, Laramie doesn't have any gay bars. Well, for that matter, neither does Wyoming. You see, he was hiring me to take him down to Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about an hour away.
He was struggling when he first came here, reaching out, trying to fit in.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Hi, my sister Romaine. She was a close friend of Matthew's.
Matthew really wanted to get into political affairs. That was all his big interest was. Watching CNN and MSNBC. Those are the only TV stations I ever saw his TV tune into.
So why did he move to Laramie?
He told me he was thinking about going back to school. So I told him, go to the University of Wyoming. Go to Laramie. You can really find a home there.
I was Matthew's academic advisor, so I knew him in a very specific context. But I can tell you that Matthew was very shy when he first came in, to the point of being somewhat mousy, I'd almost say. But soon, his shyness began to give way to this person that was excited about this track that he was going to embark on.
Whenever I think of Matthew, I think of his incredible beaming smile. He'd walk into a room and just be like, and he'd smile at everyone. And he made you feel great.
He was just starting to say, there are opportunities here. There are things I can do in this world. I can be important.
I heard from Matt about 48 hours before the attack. And he told me he just joined the gay and lesbian group on campus. And he was really enjoying it, getting ready for Pride Week and whatnot. He was totally stoked about school. He was really happy being there.
I can only say this in retrospect, of course. I think that's where he was headed, towards human rights.
Let me tell you something here. There's more gay people in Wyoming than meets the eye.
You think?
I know for a fact. I mean, they're not particularly, what do you call the queens, the gay people? Queens. You know, they run around faggot type people. I mean, they're more like, you know, the ones who'll throw a bale of hay, jump on a horse, brand him, and kick ass. You know what I'm saying? As I always say, you don't fuck with a Wyoming queer, because they'll fucking kick you in your ass. But that's not the point of what I'm saying.
What is the point?
People of Wyoming do not give a damn one way or the other if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're bisexual, trisexual, it doesn't matter.
Really?
That's what I just said, it doesn't matter.
I was the first out lesbian or gay faculty member, and that's in 1992, so that's not that long ago. They asked me at the interview what my husband did, so, you know, I came out then.
When I first moved out here, I knew it was going to be hard as a gay man. And there would be times, I would go down to Denver, and I would go to the gay bars there, and people would ask me where I was from, and I would say, Laramie, Wyoming. And I met so many men down there from Wyoming. So many gay men who grew up here, and they were like, this is not a place where I can live. How can you live there? I had to get out. But every once in a while, there'd be a guy, oh gosh, I miss Laramie. I mean, I really love it there. That's where I want to live. And they get this starry-eyed look, and I think, if that is where you want to live, do it.
So I get into my office one day, and I have a message to call this woman back. So I call her back, and she goes, I hear you are a lesbian. I hear you are one. And I'm like, uh-huh, you know? She goes, I'm one too. She wanted to come over and meet me immediately. She also warned me about the fact that there's other lesbians in this town who would not be seen with me. That just to be seen with me would taint them irreparably. That just to be seen with me would be a big problem.
I love this land. I mean, I really love this land.
Okay, I'm gonna make
make this brief, quick, just get it over with, but it will be everything, factual, just the facts. 10 o'clock, I punch in my regular time for Tuesdays, and 10:30, we're having karaoke night that night, so there's maybe 20 or 30 people milling around in here. That's when Matthew Shepard comes in, alone. He comes in and, he actually sits right where you're sitting right now. Orders himself a Heineken. So what can I tell you about Matt? Well, manners, politeness, intelligence, taking care of me, has in tips. Everything, he just offers conversation. He comes in, he's always dressed real nice, clean cut. Didn't seem to have any worries. It wasn't like he was waiting on anybody. He just wanted to enjoy his drink and the company around. And I guess it was maybe 11:30, 11:45. That's when Russell Henderson and Aaron McKini came in. They come in, they approach the bar, they sit right here, they order a pitcher, and as you know, they pay for the thing entirely in dimes and quarters, which, let me tell you, is something you just don't forget. I mean, you don't forget something like that. $5.50 in dimes and quarters is a freaking nightmare for a bartender.
Money meant nothing to Matthew, because he grew up with a lot of it. And he'd have handed over his wallet in a second because money meant nothing to him. I mean, his shoes might have meant something, but they can say it was robbery all they want to. But I don't buy it. Not even for an iota of a second.
Look, when they came in, Henderson and McKini, you know, to me, they didn't seem to be, they weren't intoxicated at all. They came right in, they ordered a pitcher of beer, take it back there into the pool area, and they pretty much just kept to themselves. It was probably going on for about a half an hour, and then I noticed that Russell and Aaron had been talking with Matthew Shepard.
Some people are saying he made a pass at them. Well, hell, you don't pick up regular people.
Aaron and I have been together for 2 years. And Aaron said that a guy walked up to him and said he was gay and wanted to get with him and Russ. And Aaron's really bad about that. He doesn't like to be around gay people at all, and neither does Russ. They just don't like them at all. And so he got aggravated with it and said that he was straight and he didn't want to have anything to do with it, and he walked off. And he said that's when him and Russ went into the bathroom and decided to pretend that they were gay and get him in the truck and rob him. They wanted to teach him a lesson not to come on to straight people.
I'm not excusing their actions, but it seems to be partially his fault and partially the guys who did it. So, you know, maybe it's 50-50.
They stated that Matt came onto them, that he approached them. I absolutely, positively disbelieve and refute that statement 100%. I'll give you 2 reasons why. One, character reference. Why would he approach them? Why them? I mean, he wasn't approaching anyone else in the bar, okay? So, I mean, they say he's gay, right? That he was a flaming gay, so he's just gonna come on to people like that. Bullshit, he never came on to me. I mean, hello, come on. He's gonna approach these 2 guys? Please. And 2, territorialism. Matt was sitting there. Aaron and Russell were back there. Upon their first interaction, they were in Matt's area. The area that he had been seen sitting all night long. So who approached who by that?
He'd never not talk to someone for any reason. If someone started talking to him, he'd just be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. He had no problem just striking up a conversation with anybody.
So this is what I'm going to be testifying to because, you know, basically I'm like the key eyewitness in the case. Basically, I'm going to be testifying that I saw Matthew leave. I saw 2 individuals leave with Matthew Shepard, and I didn't see their faces, but I did see the back of their heads. And at the same time, McKini and Henderson are no longer around. So you do the math.
I'm not super familiar with that area, which now makes me think that God wanted me to find him. I was going for a ride on my bike, and I noticed something just laying there by the fence. Now, I think it's a scarecrow. I'm like, Halloween's coming up. I think it's a Halloween gag. I even noticed his chest moving up and down. Still thought it was a dummy. I thought it was, some kind of mechanism. But when I saw hair, his hair, I knew it was a human being. So what'd you do? I ran to the nearest house. I ran as fast as I could and called the police.
The Laramie County Sheriff's Department held a news conference late this afternoon. They say they're investigating the attempted murder of 22-year-old Matthew Shepard. The sheriff says deputies found the man badly beaten and unconscious, tied to a fence last night. Almost Hazel News in Laramie right now.
The brutal attack left Matthew Shepard in a coma, prompting Wyoming's governor.
Found him said he first thought Mr. Shepherd was a scarecrow.
In jail now, charged with the crime, 21-year-old Russell Henderson and Aaron McKini, kidnapping.
And the victim, Matthew Shepard, is in very critical condition at this hour at Hoover Valley Hospital.
The arraignment took place on Friday around lunchtime. And more details about the case had come out, like the fact that the perpetrators themselves were kids. Kids, local kids that everyone who's from around here has some relationship to. So then a judge comes in and does a reading of the facts.
The defendants, Aaron James McKini, Russell Arthur Henderson, met Matthew Shepard at the Fireside Bar. And after Mr. Shepherd confided he was gay, the subjects deceived Mr. Shepherd into leaving with them in their vehicle to a remote area. En route to said location, Mr. Shepherd was struck in the head with a pistol. And upon arrival at said area, both subjects tied their victim to a buck fence, robbed him, tortured him, and continued to beat and terrorize him.
When I got to the fence, I seen what appeared to be a young man, 13, 14 years of age, because he was so tiny laying there and he was bound to the bottom of the pole.
What did you do?
I did the best I could. He was covered in dry blood all over his head, and the only place that there wasn't any blood was what appeared to be where he had been crying down his face. You know, he did not look normal. I could tell that he had a very harsh head wound.
You expect these kinds of injuries from somebody crashing down a hill in a car at 80 miles an hour. You expect to see gross injuries from something like that, this horrendous, terrible thing. But you don't expect to see someone doing this to another person.
Both defendants were later contacted by officers from the Laramie Police Department who observed inside the cab of their pickup a credit card and a pair of black patent leather shoes belonging to the victim, Matthew Shepard.
The thing that shocked me is it was a pristine crime scene.
How do you mean?
The tire tracks, the impressions that the tire made. They were just perfect because of the sandy soil there. And we found a carpet fragment from inside the truck. And that will always shock me until this day. In southeastern Wyoming, the wind here is so strong that you usually never find something like that in an exterior crime scene.
His hands were thumbs out, what we call the cuffing position. That's how we handcuff people. He was tied with a real thin white rope, and it was wound around the bottom of the pole, about 4 inches up off the ground. His shoes were missing. He was tied extremely tight, so I used my boot knife and I tried to slip it in there between the rope and his wrist. I had to be extremely careful so as not to harm Matthew any further.
I was yelling at him at the top of my lungs, hey, wake up, something, just trying to get anything out of him. He didn't move, he didn't flinch, he didn't anything.
We rolled him over onto his left side, and when we did that, he stopped breathing. So I immediately got him back on his back. And that was just enough of an adjustment. It gave me just enough room for me to slip my knife in there and to cut him free. And then Rob drove the ambulance to Ivinson Hospital's emergency room.
Once we saw Matthew, it was very obvious that his care was beyond our capabilities. phoned the neurosurgeon over at Poudre Valley. And Matthew was on his way in an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
A couple of days later, they showed me a picture of Matthew. I would have never recognized him.
Said defendants left the victim tied to the fence, begging for his life.
Well, certainly you'd like to think that this is somebody from out of town who's come through and beaten up somebody. But when you're seeing someone who's been beaten repeatedly by someone in our own town, now that certainly offends us. And that's a good word. It offends us.
The defendants will remain in the custody of the Albany County Sheriff's Department till dates can be set for their trials.
It was huge. Yeah, it was hers. And we are talking hundreds of reporters, which makes a huge dent in this town's population.
Laramie, Wyoming, often called the gem city of the plains, is now at the eye of the storm. People would like to think that what happened to Matthew Shepard is the exception to the
There are
rule.
reporters everywhere. News trucks everywhere in town, everywhere on campus, and we are not used to that type of attention.
Aaron McKini and his friend Russell Henderson came from the poor side of town. This small city that bills itself as Wyoming's hometown is wrestling with its attitudes towards gay men. It's a tough business, as Matt Shepard knew, and as all his friends know, to be gay in cowboy country.
And to get that kind of exposure under such tragic circumstances, under circumstances that we hadn't even wrapped our own heads and hearts around.
The majority of people here are good people.
You get bad apples once in a while.
Our citizens are not like that at all.
You people are making my son guilty before he's even had a trial.
How can this happen? I can't understand how someone can even do something like that.
You have your own lifestyle, you should have your lifestyle.
It's pretty much live and let live.
It's live and let live.
I am outraged and sickened by the heinous crime committed on Matthew Shepard.
A young gay man is in a deep coma. It's a crime that goes beyond despicable.
Just let it be known throughout the nation. This is not the University of Wyoming. This is not what we're about.
If this had been a heterosexual, this never would have made the national news.
I don't think there's any problem. That's gay people deal with here.
We had these guys in jail in less than a day. I think that's pretty damn good.
Hundreds of people urging Congress to pass a federal law banning hate crime.
I would like to urge the people of Wyoming against overreacting in a way that gives one group special rights over others. We will wait and see if the vicious beating and torture of Matthew Shepard was motivated by hate.
Oh my God. Anybody else want to do this?
Matthew Shepard was admitted in critical condition at approximately 9:15 on October 7. When he arrived, he was unresponsive and breathing support was being provided. Matthew's major injuries upon arrival consisted of hypothermia and of a fracture from behind his head to just in front of the right ear. This has caused bleeding in the brain as well as pressure on the brain.
Friday night, the parents arrived, and I went up and introduced myself to Dennis and Judy, and it was awful, those poor people.
Matthew's temperature has fluctuated over the last 24 hours between 98 and 106 degrees.
We arranged a police escort to bring them up, set them up in one of our conference rooms, gave them food around the clock, gave them a place to stay.
Following is a statement from them. First of all, we want to thank the American public for their kind thoughts about Matthew and their fond wishes for his speedy recovery. We appreciate your prayers and goodwill, and we know that they are something that Matthew would appreciate too.
I went up and said, you all tell me what you want me to do or what you want me to say or anything you need, and we'll provide it for you.
We also have a special request for members of the media. We ask that you respect our privacy, as well as Matthew's, so we can concentrate all of our efforts, thoughts, and love on our son. Thank you very much.
Russell Henderson and Aaron McKini have pled not guilty to the charges of kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and attempted murder in the first degree.
Russell was just so sweet. He's the one that was the Eagle Scout. His whole presence was just quiet and sweet. You know, he was raised a Mormon, and he was real active in that when he was younger. He was an elder in the church. So, of course, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I know people snap and whatever, and like I said, it wasn't a real intimate relationship. I was just his landlord. I remember, like, at the Christmas party, he was just totally drunk out of his mind. You know, like we all were. But he wasn't belligerent. He didn't change. His personality didn't change. He was still the same little meek Russell.
Aaron was a good kid. That's why I was shocked when I heard this. See, he had been living out with his girl. They just started dating last summer. And they must have gotten pregnant as soon as they started dating, though, because you know they had a kid. 21 years old, but he's running around with a kid.
When I first heard about it, I thought it was really, really awful. I don't know whether Aaron was fucked up or was coming down or what, but Matthew had money. Shit, he had better clothes than I did. Matthew was a little rich bitch.
You shouldn't call him a rich bitch, though. That's not right.
I'm not saying he's a bad guy either. I'm just saying he's at the wrong place, the wrong time. He said the wrong things.
Aaron was always dressing up big, you know, big clothes, Tommy Hilfiger, you know, Polo, Gucci, I don't know.
I mean, it probably pissed him off that Matthew was gay, because he didn't like... I mean, the gay people that I've seen him interact with or that I've heard him talk about, he was fine with, as long as, you know, they didn't hit on him. Or as long as, you know, it didn't come up.
When I knew Aaron's just a young kid, you know, he's trying to fit in, he's acting tough, acting cool, but you know what? You can get in his face about it, he'd back down like he's some kind of scared kid.
If I saw Aaron right now, I'd just be like, why'd you fuck up like that?
I want to shake him, you know? What were you thinking? What in the hell were you thinking?
Hello? This is her. Oh, hi, doctor. How is he? Yes? I see. Can you hang on for a moment? Mom, can you hang this up? I'm gonna take it in there. I'm here. Yes?
The part I wasn't telling you about before is that Reggie Flutie is my daughter. When she told me she wanted to be a police officer, I thought there was not a better choice for her. She could handle whatever came her way. And then this happens.
That was the hospital. Matthew Shepard is HIV positive, and they said I've been exposed.
What?
They said I've been exposed to the AIDS virus. You know, because I've been building the lean-tos for the llamas. And I have a bunch of open cuts on my hands, and I got his blood on my hands.
How did you get it on your hands?
We have shit gloves, you know, and I kept putting them on, and, you know, you keep putting them on, and they keep breaking, so finally I ran out.
So you touched him without gloves?
You cannot let a human being just sit there.
Reggie!
Don't hesitate. That's what goes through your mind. Don't hesitate all the time. So you just keep on moving, and you take care of Matthew, and you try to find an open airway, and that's what you do, you know? That's what you do.
Quite frankly, I wanted to lash out at somebody. Not Matthew. Please understand that not one of us was mad at Matthew. We maybe wanted to squeeze McKinney's head off. And I think about Henderson. You know, two absolutely human beings caused so much grief for so many people.
They want to start me on these ATC drugs immediately. And if you start them within 36 hours, maybe that can stop you from getting the disease.
This has been just terrible for my whole family, but mostly for her and her kids. Those drugs, the AZT drugs, she throws up every day. She cries so much she's afraid to touch her kids. I just hope she doesn't go before me.
No matter how you dice it, I did have the opportunity. If I had had amazing 20/20 hindsight, I had the opportunity to stop what occurred that night. I could have stopped it. I should have known these guys should not have been talking to that guy. I should have not had my head down while I was washing dishes for those 20 seconds. You know, all those little things I could have done, and I could have stopped this. So what the hell was I thinking?
I keep seeing that picture in my head of when I found him, and it is not pleasant whatsoever. I want to get it out. I don't want it in there. And that's a big part of it for me, is having to see that picture in my head. I don't want it in there. Matthew Shepard's the first gay person I ever saw. And it's kind of unbelievable to me that I happen to be the person that found him. Because, the big question with my religion is, why did God want me to find him?
In the darkness, before the dawn, no more sorrow. In the nighttime, let it shine. Oh Lord, let it shine.
Candlelight vigils were held around the country last night.
Candlelight vigils
There
were
are
held in
expressions
cities around the country: Denver, Fort Collins, Los Angeles, Detroit, Chicago, Washington, 5,000, Atlanta, Nashville, Minneapolis, the country, and around the world, all expressing hopes for Matthew's full recovery.
I can't stop crying. This is what I was trying to stop.
We must do more to deal with violent bigotry, hate crimes.
I hope that in the grief of this moment and in the shared outrage across America, Americans will once again search their hearts and do what they can to reduce their own fear and anxiety and anger at people who are different. And I hope that Congress will pass the hate crimes legislation.
I think the gay community is taking this as an advantage. Said, this is a good time for us to exploit this.
They made it sound like it was 10 murders instead of 1.
They're accusing the ranchers of being unreasonable and unsympathetic because of how he was
and what his persuasions were. Well, he would certainly be welcome in our home. We'd visit, sit down, have a cup of coffee.
Well, what did you think when you heard that 2 boys from your town did this?
Well, I certainly don't approve of homosexuals, but I don't think anybody has a right to do what those 2 boys did.
Well, where do you think that comes from, their hatred towards homosexuals?
I think what most people fear in the gay community is that sexuality is their #1 concern.
Not many people condone it.
When you wear it on your sleeve like a banner.
Well, there's this whole idea, you leave me alone, I leave you alone. It's even in some of the Western literature, you know, live and let live. That is such crap. Basically, what it boils down to, if I don't tell you I'm a fag, you won't beat the crap out of me. What's so great about that? That's a great philosophy?
I'll sit in church, and the Reverend will tell you flat out he does not agree with homosexuality, right? And I just don't feel like I know enough about certain things just to be able to say that homosexuality is right, you know? When I've been raised my whole life that homosexuality is not right, it's wrong.
My parents brought me up Catholic. I was brought up to love the sinner, hate the sin. Love the person for who they are, but condemn them for what they do. Condemn the lifestyle.
So I would have to say right now that I don't agree with it. I don't agree. And maybe that's just because I couldn't do it. But I don't hate homosexuals, you know, and I'm not going to persecute them. I'm not going to let this get in between me and the other person at all, you know, or in between you and I. You know, not at all.
Well, it's preached in schools that being gay is okay. If my kids asked me, I'd set them down and I'd tell them, this is what gay people do. This is what animals do, okay? And I tell them, this is the life. This is the lifestyle. This is what they do. And I say, this is why I believe it's wrong.
In New York, the protests for Matthew Shepard turned into a near riot. Police on horses were pushing into the crowds.
Let's go!
As of 9 a.m. today, Matthew Shepard remains in critical condition with severe head injuries in the surgical neuro-intensive care unit. Respiratory support. As I told you before, it's not a lifestyle with which I agree.
You still feel that way?
Yes. The family continues to emphasize that the media respect their privacy. The family also wants to thank the American public for their concern and kind thoughts for Matthew.
We went to the candle vigil, and it was so good to be with people who felt like shit. I kept feeling like I don't deserve to feel this bad. And somebody got up there and said, come on, guys, let's show the world that Laramie is not this kind of a town. But it is this kind of a town. If it wasn't this kind of a town, then why did this happen here? I mean, that's a lie, because it happened here. So how can it not be a town where this kind of thing happens? I mean, how can you even say that? We have to mourn this, and we have to be sad that we live in a town, a state, a country where shit like this happens. I mean, these people are trying to distance themselves from this crime, and we need to own this crime, I feel. Everyone needs to own it. We are like this. We are like this. We are like this.
Not having to deal that much with the gay community here in Laramie, once we started working into the case, actually talking to people that were gay and realizing what their underlying fears were, that's when it sort of hit home. This is America. You don't have the right to feel that fear.
Do you think a lot of people in Laramie feel the same way?
You're always going to have people that hold with the old ideals. And I was probably one of them 14 months ago. But I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm not going to listen to it. And if they don't like my views on it, fine. Door goes both ways. I've already lost a couple buddies, but I don't care. I feel more comfortable. And I can sleep at night now.
Well, I really want to thank you for having us here tonight. I mean,
Honestly, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, well, you know, these gatherings, this is a recent thing for us. I mean, this really only happened since Matthew.
And there's a relief in that we finally connected.
It's nice to see. There are a lot of us in Laramie.
Is everybody in the company gay? No, just the three of us. Are you out?
Yes. Yep. I wasn't out before, actually. And I thought probably they all know, but I'm not gonna, like, tell anyone. And in the long run, your self-esteem just becomes shit. And I couldn't live like that anymore.
I think a lot of people decided that they didn't want to hide anymore.
Well, I still don't feel that free to be out here. No one's asking, I'm not telling.
I've always been out, and I know how to take care of myself, but you know, since the episode, I've been irrationally terrified, and what that means is we don't let our son walk around at night alone. Every time I see a pickup truck do a U-turn, I think it's coming after me, and I'm shaking so badly I have to stop what I'm doing. It's crazy.
I think it's because somewhere inside we all know it could happen to us anytime.
Since our last medical update, Matthew Shepard has remained in critical condition with severe head injuries. As of today, the hospital will no longer offer medical updates on a scheduled basis. If Matthew's medical condition changes, we will issue a new medical update, and we will immediately contact as many members of the media as is practically possible. Thank you.
All eyes are on Laramie, Wyoming today, where many are turning their focus to their homecoming parade and the fortunes of the University of Wyoming football team.
This apartment has windows on two opposite streets. One goes north and the other goes south. And that is exactly the homecoming parade route. Now, on the day of the parade, I had a cast on my leg because of a fall. And I was very disappointed because I had heard that some students were going to be walking for Matthew Shepard. And I wanted to join them, but I couldn't. So I watched from that window. It was just... I'm 52 years old, and I'm gay. I've lived here for many years, and I've seen a lot. And I was very moved when I saw the tag at the end of the homecoming parade. It was just a group of people walking behind a banner for Matthew Shepard. But the parade then went down to the end of the block, made a U-turn around the block, and I came to the other side of my apartment to watch for it to come south down this street. Maybe 10 minutes went by. Then I saw the most incredible thing. As the parade came down the street, the number of people marching for Matthew Shepard had grown like 5 times. Can you imagine? The tag at the end was bigger than the entire parade. I thought to myself, thank God I got to see this in my lifetime. And my second thought was, thank you, Matthew.
I really haven't been all that involved, per se. My husband's a highway patrolman, so that's really the only way I've known about it. But when I first found out, I just thought it was horrible. I can't. Nobody deserves that. I don't care who you are. But I have to tell you, the media is portraying him as a saint. They're making him out as a martyr, and I don't think he was. Did you know him? No, I didn't know him. But there's so many things I found out about him that it's scary. About his character and spreading AIDS and a few other things, being about the kind of person he was. Meaning? Well, he was just a barfly. So I think he pushed himself on around, or I don't know, but I think he flaunted it. Another thing that wasn't brought out, the same time that happened, that patrolman was killed, and there was nothing. Nothing. That they didn't say anything about that old man that killed him. I mean, he was driving down the road. He shouldn't have been driving, and he killed him. And there was just a little piece. And we lost one of our guys. You know, my husband worked with him. This man was brand new on the force. But I mean, here's one of ours. And it was just a little piece in the paper.
But this was such a deliberate crime.
Everybody's got problems. Why they're exemplifying Matthew Shepard, I don't know. Hate crime's a hate crime. You murder somebody, you hate them. It has nothing to do if you're a gay or a prostitute or... I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand.
November 29th, 1998, we're about to interview Father Roger Schmidt.
Here we go. 2 queers and a Catholic priest.
Matthew Shepard has served us well. You realize that? He has served us well. I cannot mention anyone who has done more for this community than Matthew Shepard. And I'm not going to sit here and say I was just this bold guy, no fear. I was scared. I was very vocal in this community when this happened, so I thought, you know, should we call the bishop and ask him permission to do the vigil? And I was like, hell no. I'm not going to do that. His permission doesn't make it correct. And I'm not knocking bishops. But what is correct is correct. You think violence is what they did to Matthew? They did do violence to Matthew. But you know, can I make this personal?
Yeah, sure.
Every time you are called a fag, or you are called a les, or
dyke.
Dyke, yeah, dyke. Do you realize that is violence? That is the seed of violence. And I would resent it immensely if you use anything I said to somehow cultivate that kind of violence.
Well, thank you, Father, for saying that.
Just deal with what is true. You know what is true. You need to do your best to say it correct.
These people trust us. You know, they want everyone to know that they are not this crime. And it's more than clearing Laramie's name, it's clearing their own, and I don't know that we can do that. Reverend. Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Amanda. I'm with the theater company that's been speaking with people here in Laramie.
Let's see. Well, let me tell you, I don't know that I really want to talk with anybody at all about this incident. I'm somewhat involved, and I really don't feel like it's appropriate.
I completely understand. I just wanted to tell you I went to your service.
You went to the services?
Yes, I did.
On Sunday?
Yes.
Did I meet you?
Briefly. You welcomed us in the beginning.
I see. Well, I will tell you that I am involved. Half the people in the case, well, the girlfriend of the accused is a member of our congregation, and one of the accused has visited. Now, I think they deserve the death penalty, but I will try to deal with them spiritually. Now, as far as the victim, I know that that lifestyle is legal, but I will tell you one thing. I hope Matthew Shepard, as he was tied to that fence, that he had time to reflect on a moment when somebody had spoken the word of the Lord to him, and that before he slipped into a coma, he had a chance to reflect on his lifestyle.
Thank you, Reverend. I appreciate your speaking with me.
All right, you better go.
I let him say that to me. I let him say that to me, and I didn't say anything back.
At 12 midnight on Monday, October 12, Matthew Shepard's blood pressure began to drop. We immediately notified the family, who were already at the hospital. At 12:53 a.m., Matthew Shepard died. His family was at his bedside. The family did release the following statement. They again asked me to express their sincerest gratitude to the entire world for the overwhelming response to their son. The family was grateful that they did not have to make a decision regarding whether or not to continue life support for their son. Like a good son, he was caring to the end and removed guilt or stress from the family. He came into the world premature and left the world premature. Matthew's mother said, "Go."
We'd been up for like 72 hours straight, and gone home and gone to sleep for half an hour and get up and come. Maybe I was just I don't know. While I was reading that statement, I thought about my own 4 daughters, and she doesn't have her kid anymore.
Go home. Give your kids a hug. And don't let a day go by without telling them that you love them.
And then we started getting people sending us all these emails and letters. Do you cry like a baby on TV for all your patients or just the faggots? Jesus. After being thrown into this, I guess I didn't understand the magnitude with which some people hate. And of all the letters we got, I mean, there were 2 or 3 that were like that. Most were thanks for your caring and compassion. And Matthew got caring and compassion from the moment he got here.
The charges against Russell Henderson and Aaron McKini were upgraded to first-degree murder after Matthew Shepard died early Monday morning. If convicted, the 2 men could face the death penalty.
Now, I'll tell you what. If they put those 2 boys to death, that would defeat everything that Matt would be thinking about them. Because he would not want those 2 to die. He'd want to leave them with hope. H-O-P-E. Just like the whole world hoped that Matt would survive, right? This whole thing, you see what I'm saying? This whole thing ropes around hope. H-O-P-E.
On the day of the funeral, it was snowing and raining so bad. By the time I got there were already thousands of people there, dressed in black, umbrellas everywhere. And they had 2 churches set up. And still, there were hundreds of people outside who couldn't fit into either one of the churches. And they had this park set up, and the park was full.
Thou shalt not lie down with mankind, as in womankind. It is abomination. Matthew Shepard lived his life breaking that commandment. Now, if he repented in his dying hours, we hope he did. If not, he is in hell, along with those killers. You believe in the Bible? You believe you're supposed to separate the precious from the vile? No, you don't believe that part of the Bible. No, you just stand over there, ignorant of the fact that for every 2 times God thinks.
After seeing Phelps protesting at Matthew's funeral, and then hearing that he's coming back to Laramie for the trial of Russell Henderson, I decided that someone needs to stand toe-to-toe with him and show the difference.
Some people are gonna be sent to hell! And I think you know who you are. And we wouldn't be here if this was just another murder that the state was going to handle. The state handles hundreds of murders. This murder is different because the gays...
He's not even from Laramie. He just travels around the country doing these demonstrations.
Gay lifestyle.
So we're planning an event. We're calling it Angel Action. This 21-year-old little lesbian is gonna walk the line with him.
Spare not! You lift up your voice like a trumpet! And you show my people their transgressions! We are sending the message of God. God's anger is pure. That God is going to send someone to hell! That's God's anger! Now we wouldn't be here! By faggots? You want them in your school? We're not going to let that happen. Take over the world. Matthew Shepard, what he did was a sin.
As soon as they started jury selection, everyone was coming into my shop with, I don't want to be on this trial. I hope they don't call me. Or, oh my God, I got called. How do I get off? Just wanting to get as far away from it as they could. Very fearful that they were going to have to be part of that jury. And then I heard Henderson had to sit in the courtroom while they questioned prospective jurors. And one of the questions they asked was, would you be willing to put this person to death? And I understand a lot of the comments were, yes, I would. Absolutely. Yep, no problem. Well, can you imagine hearing that? Juror after juror after juror. These are people that he knows. No wonder he changed his plea.
You entered a not guilty plea earlier, Mr. Henderson. But I understand you wish to change your plea today?
Yes, sir.
You understand that the recommended sentence here is 2 life sentences?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that those may run concurrently or they may run consecutively?
Yes, sir.
Before the court makes that decision, I understand that there are statements to be made by at least one individual. Let's proceed with that.
As the grandmother and the person who raised Russell, along with my family, we have written the following statement. Our hearts ache for the pain and suffering that the Shepherds have went through. We have prayed for your family since the very beginning. Many times throughout the day, I have thought about Matt And you will continue to be in our thoughts and prayers as we know that your pain will never go away. You have showed such mercy, and we are so grateful that you are giving us all the opportunity to live. Your Honor, we, as a family, hope that as you sentence Russell, that you will do it concurrently for 2 life terms. For the Russell we know and love, we humbly plead, Your Honor, to not take Russell completely out of our lives forever.
Mr. and Mrs. Shepherd, there is not a moment that goes by that I don't see what happened that night. I know what I did was very wrong, and I regret greatly what I did. You have my greatest sympathies for what happened. I hope that one day you will be able to find it in your hearts to forgive me.
Mr. Henderson, this court does not believe that you really feel any true remorse for your part in this matter. And I wondered whether you fully realize the gravity of what you have done. You drove the vehicle that took Matthew Shepard to his death. You bound him to that fence in order that he might be more savagely beaten and in order that he might not escape to tell his tale. You left him out there for 18 hours, perhaps having an opportunity to save his life, and you did nothing. As to count 3, that being felony murder with robbery, you are to serve a period of imprisonment for the term of your natural life. For count 1, kidnapping, that you are to serve a period of imprisonment for the term of your natural life. Sentencing for count 1 to run consecutive to sentencing for count 3.
After this sentencing, the Mormon Church decided to excommunicate Russell. Now, he's got a Mormon home teacher that visits him in prison every week.
So now nobody from the church is gonna go visit him?
Not supposed to. They're not supposed to pray for him. He'll just sort of disappear.
Stop him, please! Look over here!
Mrs. Kaufman, how do you
What happened that night? We need to know. This town needs to know.
I need some more light on them.
I'll never get tired of this play.
Yeah, well, try directing it 50 times. You can relax. Just keep the umbrellas up.
So I hear you're doing Angels in America next year.
We have an obligation to reach our students. And the question is, how do you reach a whole state where there's such deep-seated hostility toward gays? How do you reach them? Angels in America is just the beginning. And guess who's auditioning for the lead?
My parents, right? They're like, hey, so what plays are they doing at school this year? Oh, let's see. Angels in America. Wait. Angels in America, isn't that play? It's that scene, yeah. So you're gonna audition for this? And I said, yeah, I am. Huge argument, right? It was like this huge argument. My mom was like, homosexuality is a sin, homosexuality is a sin, homosexuality is a sin. But the best thing, right? The best thing that I knew they had on it, right? Was this, they had just seen me, it was right before this, they just seen me on stage in Macbeth, right? I like murdered like this little kid and Lady Macduff and like these 2 other guys, right? I'm like, Mom. I just played a murderer tonight and you didn't seem to have any problem with that.
So when's the audition?
Tuesday. Yeah, but I tell you, man, I have never prepared myself for an audition like this in my life. Never. Not even close.
You know, everybody second guesses what you're doing. You know, you get a lot of heavy criticism. You did everything wrong. You are not supposed to touch anybody unless you have your gloves on and protective gear. Or then they make you out to be some kind of, you know, big hero. You don't know, some Joe Blow down the block. You could have done a better job than I did. People do extraordinary things every day. I think this has really brought home to my girls what their mom does for a living.
Just a minute. It is the decision of the county's attorney's office that this will definitely be tried as a death penalty case. That's all I have.
How can I protest if the Shepherds want McKini dead? I just can't interfere in that. But on a personal level, I knew Aaron in grade school. He wasn't called Aaron, we called him AJ. How can we put AJ McKini to death?
I think right now, our most important teachers must be Russell Henderson and Aaron McKini. They have to be our teachers. How did you learn? What did we do as a society to teach you that? See, I don't know if many people will let them be their teacher. I think it would be wonderful if the judge said, in addition to the sentence, you must tell your story. You must tell your story.
This is a tape recording of the confession given by Aaron James McKini to me as detective in charge of the investigation. This confession was recorded 2 days after the attack. So, you guys go to the fireside, right?
Yeah.
And where do you go after you leave the fireside?
Some kid wanted to ride home.
So what's he look like?
Like a queer?
He looks like a queer.
Yeah, like a fag, you know?
Okay, so how'd you meet him?
Fag? Queer guy? We were meeting at the bar. He asked us what we were drinking and what we were doing.
Okay, so what happened after you met him?
He wanted to ride home, and I just thought, well, the dude's drunk, let's just take him home.
When did you and Russ talk about jacking him up?
Kind of talked about it at the bar.
Okay. Tell me what happened next.
Drove him out past Walmart. We got over there, and he starts grabbing my leg and grabbing my genitals, and I was like, look, I'm not a fucking faggot. If you touch me again, you're gonna get it. And I don't know what the hell he was trying to do, but I beat him up pretty bad. I think I killed him.
What'd you hit him with?
Blacked out. My fist, my pistol, butt of the gun. I wondered what happened to me. I had a few beers, and I don't know. It's like I could see what was going on, but I don't know. It was like somebody else was doing it.
What was the first thing that he said or that he did inside the truck that made you want to hit him?
Well, he put his hand on my leg and slid his hand like he was gonna grab my balls.
When that defense team argued that McKini did what he did because Matthew made a pass at him, I just wanted to vomit. Because that's like saying it's okay.
It was disgusting. And we were all just disgusted. It was like just rude, and that was less than integrous behavior. And we were all just disgusted by that quality of defense.
It's like the Twinkie defense when the guy killed Harvey Milk in Moscone. It's the same thing.
As much as a part of me didn't want the defense of them saying that it was a gay bashing or gay panic, a part of me was really grateful. Because I was really afraid that in this trial they were going to try and say that it was a robbery or it was about drugs. So when they used gay panic as the defense, I thought, this is good. Because if nothing else, the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to be told.
So about how many times did you hit him in the truck before you guys stopped where you left him?
I sat him 2 or 3 times. Probably 3 times with my fists and about 6 times with the pistol.
Did he ask you to stop?
Well, yeah, he was getting the shit kicked out of him.
What'd he say?
After he asked me to stop, most all he was doing was screaming.
Was Matthew conscious while Russell was tying him to the fence?
Yeah. I told him, turn around and don't look at my license plate number because I was scared he would tell the police. And then I asked him what my license plate said. He read it, and that's why I hit him a few more times.
Just to be sure.
My secret hope was that they were from somewhere else. That then you can create this distance. We don't grow children like that here. Well, it's pretty clear we do grow children like that here.
So obviously you don't like gay people.
No, I don't.
Would you say you hate them?
No, I really don't hate them, but, you know, when they start coming on to me and stuff like that, I get pretty aggravated.
So you've been approached by gay people before?
No, not really.
Did he threaten you?
This gay dude?
Yeah.
No.
Can you answer me one thing? Why did you guys take his shoes?
I don't know. I'm never gonna get to see my son again?
I don't know.
He's gonna die for sure?
There's no doubt that Mr. Shepherd is going to die.
So what are they gonna give me, 25 to life? Or the death penalty and just get it over with?
That's not our job. That's the job of the judge and the jury.
Now, the strange thing is, 20 minutes before Matthew was brought in, Aaron McKini, one of the perpetrators, was brought in by his girlfriend.
Wait, McKini was here?
Yeah. I guess he went back into town later that same night and got in a fight. And so there's Aaron on one bed in my ER, and just a few beds down is Matthew. And 2 days later, I found out the connection.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
I was very struck. They were two kids. They were both my patients, but they were two kids. I took care of both of them, took care of both their bodies. And I felt a great deal of compassion for both of them.
We, the jury, impaneled and sworn to try the above entitled cause, after having well and truly tried the matter, unanimously find as follows. As to the charge of kidnapping, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKini, guilty. As to the charge of felony murder, we find the defendant, Aaron James McKini, guilty.
The jury returns to the courthouse today to start considering the punishment, a phase of the trial that will probably last until next week.
I am working with McKini, counseling him. I don't think he can conceptualize the gravity of something like capital punishment, but you know I'm going to be praying like the Dickens tonight that we don't have to go through this next phase. I don't know if you believe in the power of prayer, but would you do this for me? Would you just say from time to time, Lord, I lift him up to you? Just do that for me.
Of course, Father.
The sentencing phase of McKinney's trial was to begin momentarily. However, now we're hearing that Judy and Dennis Shephard have been approached by McKinney's defense team, who pled for their client's life. We understand Mr. Shephard may approach the court this morning.
My son, Matthew, did not look like a winner. He was rather uncoordinated and wore braces from the age of 13 until the day he died. However, in his all too brief life, he proved that he was a winner. On October 6th, 1998, my son tried to show the world that he could win again. On October 12th, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero lost. On October 12th, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero died. 50 days before his 22nd birthday. I keep wondering the same thing that I did when I first saw him in the hospital. What would he have become? How could he have changed his piece of the world to make it better? Matt officially died in a hospital in Fort Collins, Colorado. He actually died on the outskirts of Laramie, tied to a fence. You, Mr. McKini, with your friend, Mr. Henderson, left him there by himself. But he was not alone. There were his lifelong friends with him. Friends that he had grown up with. You're probably wondering who these friends were. First, he had the beautiful night sky and the same stars and moon we used to see through a telescope. Then he had the daylight and the sun to shine on him. And through it all, he was breathing in the scent of the pine trees from the snowy range. He heard the wind, the ever-present Wyoming wind, for the last time. He had one more friend with him. He had God. And I feel better knowing he wasn't alone. Matt's beating, hospitalization, and funeral focused worldwide attention on hate. Good is coming out of evil. People have said enough is enough. I miss my son, but I am proud to be able to say that he was my son. Judy has been quoted as being against the death penalty. It has been stated that Matt was against the death penalty. Both of these statements are wrong. I, too, believe in the death penalty. I would like nothing better than to see you die, Mr. McKini. However, this is the time to begin the healing process. To show mercy to someone who refused to show any mercy. Mr. McKini, I am going to grant you life. As hard as it is to do so, because of Matthew. Every time you celebrate Christmas, a birthday, the 4th of July, remember that Matt isn't. Every time you wake up in your prison cell, remember you had the opportunity and the ability to stop your actions that night. You robbed me of something very precious, and I will never forgive you for that. Mr. McKini, I give you life in the memory of someone who no longer lives. May you have a long life, and may you thank Matthew every day for it. Thank you very much.
Mr. McKinney, you will be remanded to the custody of the Albany County Sheriff's Department, pending transportation to the state penitentiary. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this matter.
When you think of this town, you can see something else than just a crime and understand why we love it so much.
I think I'm just really glad that it's over. You know, I really am. Testifying in this trial has been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my entire life. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the stage. I'm a natural for it. I love it. But the actual testifying is really, really difficult. You know, because what you have is you have the lawyers who are asking you questions. So you have questions that are coming at you in this avenue, but then you have to funnel them over towards the jury. So you funnel them over there, and what you end up with is, basically you have a funneling system, right?
After taking the ATZ for 6 months, I was able to get a DNA test. And it was about a week later, that's when I found out that I was negative for good.
Oh, wow, thank God. That's great.
I tell you, we were all on our knees saying Hail Marys.
Yeah, you know, you're just so elated. We were really happy.
So what's the first thing she does?
I stuck my tongue right in my husband's mouth.
Well, what about your daughters?
Oh, man, the girls, they just bawled.
They were just so happy.
In the force.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we went out and got shit-faced. I just kissed everybody who came through that door.
Reggie, they don't need to know that.
You know what? If it was a male or a female, I didn't care. I kissed him right on the lips.
What part of what I just said did you not understand?
Mom, I have already kissed him.
It's not clear to me, having known Matthew, what story he would want told about this. We won't fully understand what happened here until time has had a chance to filter that out for us. What happened here, the culture that caused this, the complex set of events leading up to it, it would have been like us trying to stop a tank.
Change is not an easy thing, and I don't think people were up to it here. They got what they wanted. Those two boys got what they deserve, and we look good now. You know, it's been over a year since Matthew Shepard died, and they haven't passed shit in Wyoming. They haven't passed it at a state level, any town, anybody, anywhere has passed any kind of laws. Anti-discrimination laws or hate crime legislation. Nobody has passed anything anywhere. What's come out of it? What's come out of it that's concrete and lasting?
The dead will be commemorated, and will struggle on with the living. And we are not going away. We won't die secret deaths anymore. The world only spins forward. We will be citizens. The time has come. Bye now.
Have you ever gone out to the fence?
Mm-hmm. I drove up to the site in my limousine. And, see, I remembered something to myself. The night he and I drove around together, he said, Laramie sparkles, doesn't it? And where he was in that spot up there, if you sit exactly in that spot up there, Laramie sparkles from there. Oh, with the low-lying clouds, it's the blue light that's bouncing off the clouds from the airport. And it goes tss, 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 over the whole city. I mean, it blows you away. And Matt was right there in that spot. And I could just picture, in his eyes, I can picture what he was seeing. And the last thing that he saw on this earth was the sparkling lights of Laramie, Wyoming.